Everyone at ASALH. Thank you for reaching out to us. I am Walter Biggins. I'm the editor-in-chief at the University of Pennsylvania Press, and here with my senior editor, Robert Lockhart, we are going to talk a little bit about the areas in which we acquire, and we encourage you to reach out to us if you have a project for consideration that you think might be appropriate for our list. So, Penn Press, University of Pennsylvania Press, publishes widely in the humanities, publish about 100 books annually a year. Broadly speaking, dealing with issues of history, arts and culture, literary studies, cultural studies, urban studies and geography, anthropology and ethnography, landscape architecture, and a few other areas. But we are primarily focused on the humanities. With regard to ASALH, we have a long-standing and robust list in history and politics and cultures of the African diaspora, broadly speaking, particular concentrations on African American cultures and histories, Afro-Caribbean cultures and histories, and cultures and histories of those around the Circum-Caribbean. Broadly speaking, we do have an interest in early modern cultures as they pertain to race as well. I acquire most forthrightly in post-colonial studies and intellectual history, African American and Afro-Caribbean cultures from the 19th century through the present, and in human rights, broadly speaking. So without going into too much more detail there, I'm going to turn this over to Robert Lockhart, our senior humanities editor in history.
Thanks, Walter. Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Lockhart. As Walter mentioned, I'm a senior editor here at the University of Pennsylvania Press. And I publish books basically in American history, and the history of the Americas, perhaps a little bit more broadly defined, really from the early modern era, which I define as like sort of 16th and 17th centuries, up through the 18th, 19th, 20th centuries, and into the present. So the sort of whole gambit of history in the Western Hemisphere I'm interested in. I'm particularly interested in African American history as it relates or intersects with history of gender and sexuality, political history, and cultural history. As I mentioned, I have a interest, broad chronological interest, and also a pretty broad geographic interest. Works on the Caribbean, Latin America, the United States are interesting to me. Perhaps the easiest thing might be to give you a couple of examples. Recent books that sort of, I think, illustrate my interests include Jessica Johnson's Wicked Flesh, Black Women, Intimacy, and Freedom in the Atlantic World, which is really an early modern and 18th century study. Elena Roberts's I've Been Here All the While, Black Freedom on Native Land, which perhaps represents the sort of 19th century aspects of the list. And then in the 20th century, a good example, I think, is Kyle Mays's forthcoming book, which I'm really excited about, City of Dispossessions, Indigenous Peoples, African Americans, in the creation of modern Detroit. So it's a combination of urban history, African American history, and Native American history. Other authors I've worked with over the years, by way of example, include Jennifer Morgan, Herman Bennett, and Marissa Fuentes, among others. So I have a pretty eclectic range of interests, as with Walter, and I'm eager to learn about your projects.
Thank you so much, Bob. So as a reminder, we are the University of Pennsylvania Press. You can find our exhibit in the virtual exhibit hall through the ASALH website. You can also find our contact information both at the ASALH website and at the University of Pennsylvania Press's website. So that's www.pennpress.org. That will lead you to our landing page. And you can find us that way as well. We look forward to hearing from you, and we hope you have a terrific ASALH throughout the last 2 weeks of September. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.